I got my new laptop today, Lenovo Flex 5. It's a 14-inch, 2-in-1, Full HD, 1920 by 1080. Has a AMD Ryzen 5 4500U processor with 16 gigabytes of soldered RAM, a 256 gigabyte PCIe NVMe SSD, and it includes a pen. I'm a big fan of the pens. So right off the bat, the laptop has too small of a hard drive. I know that. Too small of an SSD. Bought this for about $100. It's one of the highest rated 1 terabyte PCIe SSDs. I'll use this. This is an adapter, USB 3 to PCIe for imaging the existing drive. And then I'm going to apply the image to this drive and install it in. But for now I need to set up the laptop. So it looks like I can charge via USB-C, but in my experience you need the custom power brick to charge. You can't just charge with an external battery, even if it has USB-C. We'll check it out. So the active pen has a battery. So it's a quadruple A. This does not feel like it has a magnet. That would be nice, because it's going to be an issue to find the pen. It may be magnetic, I'm not sure yet. No, I don't think it's magnetic. Okay, so it's going to be an issue to find the pen. Like on the phones, you can put the pen into the phone. So of course you can lay it flat, like a typical laptop, like this, and it can fold back on itself. My Spectre, when it folds back on itself, the keyboard disables and the touchpad disables. We'll see if this does the same thing. I'll be very curious to see how easy it is to turn on and off this touchpad. On my Spectre, it's a big deal. You're always brushing your palm against it, and it doesn't have good firmware to deal with the palm rejection. F7 looks like it's the hotkey for projection. Might have to assign a keyboard macro or a keyboard shortcut to one of these function keys to turn the touchpad on and off. So there is a barrel connector here for power, and then there's also USB-C power. This could be some kind of attachment to keep the pen attached. Maybe it plugs in and then keeps the pen attached. Well, I don't know, we'll see. I don't think it includes a power with a barrel adapter, just the USB-C. So I'll go ahead and plug it in so we can get it started up and configured. It does have this privacy guard. That was kind of handy. So you put your fingernail there to switch it back and forth. And this is a fingerprint reader. One of the reasons I chose this laptop is that it cost under $600. I got it for about $580. If I do drop it, it's not catastrophic. The Spectre that I have, I paid over $1,000 for that, used. I'm always worried about dropping that. If I drop that, it would be a very big deal. Backlit keyboard. So I'm getting a lot for the money. I heard that the speakers are good. We'll check that out.
Now let's get you connected to a network. That way you can get updates, apps, and cat video. Now type your credentials. Mission accomplished. You're all linked up. Now we have some important setup to do. Now let's see what's new from Windows. Next up, the legal stuff. In short, you type your email address or phone number, then follow the instructions to sign in. I'll catch up with you once that's done. Use Windows Hello to unlock your PC with just your fingerprint. It's not only faster, it's more secure than a password. Want to set that up now? Follow the instructions to teach your PC to read your fingerprints. Want to set up a PIN? These are the settings Microsoft recommends. Go ahead and review them and select Accept when you're ready. Based on the activities you choose here, you will get a personalized experience as you set up your device. Now let's link your phone and PC using a Microsoft app that can work some magic between your devices. We'll send you a text to get everything set up. Just type your phone number and press send. Want to automatically save files and photos to OneDrive for some added peace of mind? You subscribe to Microsoft 365, so let's set it up on your device. Hey, look, that's me, Cortana. Can I have permission to use the info I need to do my best work? Your device manufacturer would like your contact info to send you updates and such. Almost done now. We just need to get a few more things polished up for you, and Windows will be all yours. Looking forward to helping out.
Lenovo pen settings. Top barrel button. There's no barrel that clicks on this. Bottom barrel button is erase. Maybe this means top barrel button, bottom barrel button. Radio menu. Please make sure you have a button set to radio menu. Label for selected radio. Alright, now that it's all set up, I think I'm going to turn it off and look at the SSD. The idea will be I'm going to put this SSD in. This is 1 terabyte. Alright, I was a little concerned because I didn't see the SSD right off the bat. I was expecting it to be longer. This is like a half-size SSD right here. It's a different form factor. I'm used to seeing something more like this. But I think the form factor that I bought will still work in here. And this is some kind of extra spacer for that case. So we'll take this off. I'm going to image it once I get it off. Now, just for test purposes, I believe the Western Digital that I just got is the same form factor. So I'm just going to see if this fits in lengthwise, and it does.
The Flex 5 internal SSD and the output disk are attached. LS block to verify disks are attached and their mount points. SSD is SDF. I'll write to the file system mounted at Data 1. Unmount the SSD Windows file system. Never image with the file system mounted. Make sure the Windows file system unmounted. Check again the mount points. Make sure there is enough space on the desk. Looks like I have about 1 terabyte free. Double check the disks and file systems. Rate limit the imaging to 100 megabytes per second. Imaging 256 gigabytes all at once might stress both the source and desk. Install PV. Image the SSD to a file. This took about 40 minutes in real time.
So I have successfully imaged the SSD that came with the Lenovo Flex 5. So that is on another hard drive, spinning disk. And now I need to apply the image that I took from this SSD to the new SSD, the 1 terabyte Western Digital.
Now I want to apply the image that I took from the internal SSD on the Lenovo Flex 5 to the new Western Digital 1 terabyte. Yesterday, the disk was SDE for the disk that I took the image to, and I believe SDF. LS block. There's a 1 terabyte disk in SDF. There is a 4 terabyte disk in SDE. This is still good. Let's make sure that this is the disk that I want to write to. So I'm going to unplug it, redo my LS block. Now SDF is missing, so that confirms that the disk that I unplugged was SDF. Now I'll plug it back in and make sure that it's SDF. Okay, so I want to take the image from. The image is on this data 1 mount point, and I want to write it to the SDF disk. So this has no partitions on it, and we're going to put the partition table of the 256 gigabyte internal disk that came with the Lenovo Flex 5. So we'll do like we did yesterday to rate limit the writing to the SSD just in case there's overheating issues. So we're taking the image from data 1 Lenovo, and then we're going to pipe this to PV rate limit equals 100 M. Redirect this to /dev/SDF. Maybe I should have primed it first. Sudo ls. Now let's try. Permission denied. Okay, so the rate limiting was a good idea, but I don't know how to do that because /dev/SDF is treating it like a file system, and of course I can't do that. So I'm going to take the rate limit out. This becomes the OF argument, and I also did not put the block size in. And we'll do a block size of 1 megabyte. Status equals progress.
Alright, so I've applied the image from the Lenovo 256 gigabyte internal SSD to this 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue. Alright, so I need to take this out and install it back into the laptop, and hopefully it's all good. Okay, I'll tighten those in a little bit. See if it boots back up. It's a good sign. Alright, let's see what we have. This is with the new 1 terabyte drive. So if I do disks, disk, create and format, this is disk management. Alright, there we go. So this is the partition table of the internal drive, the original internal drive, and I'm still left with 693 gigabytes of unused space. So that worked. Let's install a disk benchmark program. CrystalDiskMark. CrystalDiskInfo gives you info about the disk, but we need CrystalDiskMark. So we'll do it on the C drive, that's fine. Alright, what do we have here? Large sequential I/O in the range of about 1.5 gigabytes per second. Sequential I/O of queue size 1, thread 1, about 1 gigabyte per second. The random 4K, queue size 32, threads 1, about 400 megabytes per second, read and write. That's quite good. Random 4K, queue size 1, thread 1, 35 megabytes per second read and 120 megabyte per second write. This should be very well performing. So another scenario I want to check is if I can charge this with something other than the power adapter USB-C that was provided. So can I charge it with an external battery? Here's an external battery, an Anker, I think it's like 10,000. Plug it in. Does not seem to be charging. There's no indication in Windows that it's charging, and the battery is definitely on. Okay, that's kind of a bummer, but I've never been able to do this before. Anyways, with this Anker power port +1 with quick charge 3.0. No indication in Windows that it's charging. So you probably have to use the power adapter that they gave you because it outputs the correct amount of power to charge the battery. All right, this time we'll try F9. F2. F2. Maybe function F2? All right, so I watched a YouTube video by Rick's Tech, and he says to hold function and F2 while you hit the power button. I'm used to tapping, so maybe that was the problem. Function, F2, power, and hold it in. Okay, that was the problem. So we'll go to boot menu, boot off of the SanDisk Ultra, and we will just go to Ubuntu, I think. Let's see. And then there should be an install within here. It did say there were errors in one file. We'll see how far we get, or if we have to make a new boot drive. I've already tried Ubuntu. I'm just going to install. I'll do a normal installation, download updates, install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. Sounds good. Installing third-party drivers requires configuring secure boot. No thanks. This computer currently has Windows Boot Manager on it. What would you like to do? Install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. Yes. You can choose which operating system you want each time the computer starts up. Yep. But also something else says you can create or resize partitions yourself or choose multiple partitions for Ubuntu. We'll just try this. Unable to satisfy all constraints on the partition. Okay. So maybe we have to do something else. Something else. Continue. Device for bootloader installation. Here's the free space. I want to add 744, 145. So that's about the remaining 600-700 gigabytes. 300 primary here. This is in free space. We're going to take up approximately 256. Install. I could use disks at this point. I could create a partition. 256 gigabytes. Volume name. Ubuntu. Air creating partition. UDisks air quark. We'll go for something else. From the free space, again, to make this 100. Unable to satisfy all constraints on the partition. When I come across this error, I try again, but make sure that the option Align To is set to none. It seems to use megabytes by default. This usually works for me, although sometimes I have to try it 2 or 3 times before it works. This might not be the best solution, but it might work for you. So that was with gparted. Is included with the boot. Alright, not all of the space available to NVMe 0 and 1 appears to be used. You can fix the GPT to use all of the space and extra, or continue with the current setting. Okay, sure. Let's fix that. That may have been the issue. So now if we try something else, continue, free space, this 300. Didn't really change. Quit. Let's go to gparted. Partition. New. We will make this 300. Free space. Following. Align to megabyte. Create as primary partition. Partition name Ubuntu. Ubuntu. So the new partition would be about 292 gigabytes, leaving about 400 gigabytes left for a data partition to be formatted exFAT. So we can apply. Let's do something else. We're installing to NVMe 0N1 P5, putting the bootloader on the disk. No root file system is defined. Please correct this from the partitioning. Okay. No root file system. So ext4. Sure. And format and mount it at root. Before you can select a new partition size. I didn't change. Write previous changes to disk and continue. Alright, install. Alright, when I unplugged the power, the screen dimmed quite a bit. Looks like we're about 90% done. Alright, restart now. Let's see what happens with the bootloader. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. Alright, so I can get to, this is the boot manager, I can get to Ubuntu there, or Windows here. I'll check Windows. Okay, that looks good. Okay. Shut down. Can I get back into Linux? Ubuntu. Alright, looks good. Alright, sweet.